That's what I want to do. When you literally change your answer in the middle of filming. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with some classics. So as you can see, I am in a different spot today. I am by my classic shelf because today we are doing the classics book tag. I was tagged by Savannah from Savvy Reads, so I will definitely leave her channel down below. She's relatively new, so you guys should definitely check her out. And I also found the original tag, which I believe was a blog, so I will leave a link to that blog down below as well. But we've got like 10 questions to talk about. I have my coffee and my Jane Austen classic mug, so we're ready to go, guys. So the very, very first question was one that I had the hardest time with because I was trying to find one that would work, and then literally while sitting here I thought of a better answer than the one I came up with. So we're gonna go with that one. And the question is an overhyped book that you just like didn't like, and for me that is David Copperfield. And this book, I didn't like it but I read this one in high school for class and I did not like it. This was the first book that I'd ever listened to an audiobook with. The teacher sent out this link where you could listen to someone read the book to you as you read along, and so like that's what I did. That's how I got through like the first half of this book, but it was just boring and long, and it was drawn out, and I just didn't like it. I liked the adaptation though because it had like a ton of Harry Potter people in it, because like Daniel Radcliffe was David Copperfield, Maggie Smith was in there. The woman who plays Umbridge was in there. There's like all kinds of Harry Potter people, so the adaptation was fine, but oh no. So the very next question is your favorite time period to read about, and this one's hard because like I know, but I also don't know how to describe it. So I believe this is like 17th century is what I would say, but it's a time period that like Jane Austen was writing, because y'all know I love me some Jane Austen. So things that were written in Regency England that are kind of set in a Regency England, things like that. I love that time period. I love reading things from Victorian and Edwardian England as well. But like as far as like classics go, I think like that Regency England British author type of book is my jam. The next one is a little bizarre because it's your favorite fairy tale, and like all I can think of is like the Disney fairy tales that I loved when I was like itty bitty, so like that's what I'm gonna go with because like that's all I can think of. But when I was little I was obsessed with Cinderella. I literally watched it all the time, so like that was my movie. That's all I wanted to watch when I was little, and I just have very like fond memories of that movie because it was like my childhood obsession. The next question is, what is the most embarrassing classic you haven't read yet? All of them? I have quite a few that I haven't read yet, but the one that I'm gonna go with is actually Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is a book that like I know the general plot of. I've never seen any adaptations of it. I think I probably should just to kind of figure out what it is, but it's just like the staple for like a ton of different people and like the English classes they took when they were like in school, and I just never read it. It was never one that was required for any of my classes. I just never read it, and I think I would like to. I think I would like to get around to it just to kind of like see what it's about. I know it's, I don't know, like there's just so much that's like compared to Wuthering Heights and the characters in it, and I think it's set around the time period that I would enjoy, but like I didn't love Jane Eyre, which I realize is a different sister, it's not the same one, but like her writing style was not my favorite, so like any of the Bronte sisters I'm a little like wary of now. But yeah, I feel like I should have read this one by now. The next question is your top 5 classics that you would like to read soon. So this is in absolutely no order, besides that these are just some classics that I would like to read. So the first one is actually one that I've had for a couple of years because I had a friend in college who got it for me for like a Christmas present because she couldn't believe I didn't have it or have never read it, and really 3 years later and I still haven't read it. And that is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. I was obsessed with the Netflix adaptation, which was Anne with an E, and I'm really intrigued by the story, and I'm really intrigued by this entire series. This is just the first book in the series. The next one is one that you guys have definitely seen before, and that is Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. This one reminds me a lot of like a more middle-class Jane Austen, because Jane Austen's novels all revolved around like the gentleman class. Even if you were lower on the gentleman class spectrum, I guess, you were still in the gentleman class. And this one takes place on a farm, but I've also never read anything by Thomas Hardy. But I've seen the movie and I really enjoyed the movie, and I liked it because it's like a love story. It tells the story of like a woman who is like super independent and is in charge of this farm at a time when like women weren't allowed to be landowners, I don't think. So I'm intrigued by this story. So the next one is one that I totally picked up on a whim. I don't remember why, but it was from like, I don't know, like a bargain bookstore or something. But it is Summer by Edith Wharton. I've never read anything by Edith Wharton that I can remember. It takes place in this time where it follows like a woman and her like sexual awakening basically, and something about that intrigues me because it was written at a time when like, I think it was written at a time when that was like super taboo, and it's set at a time when that's definitely taboo. So I don't know, just something about her writing about this topic intrigues me, and how she's gonna handle it and how like the world took it. The next one is actually a play, but I still consider it a classic, and that is The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. This book actually has other plays in it as well, but like The Importance of Being Earnest I think is a very well-known play, and I think I've seen the movie adaptation of it. I've seen different adaptations of this, and like I know the story of it, but I've never read the original like play itself. And of course I opened to a page that wasn't actually it. But I'd love to get around to reading it just to say that like I've read it. And then the last one is totally like an impulse. And this is actually a book that my husband owned. And so like now it's part of the classics collection. And I looked it up and it sounds really interesting. And that is A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court by Mark Twain. This is like, ooh, sorry for the shine, but this is like a really nice classic edition. There are like pictures in it as well, and they're like full color, but basically it follows this man who bangs his head in a fight and then accidentally wakes up in King Arthur's court and decides, you know, I'm going to take over this kingdom and bring modern technology like electricity to King Arthur and his knights and stuff like that. So I'm really intrigued by this because it's like the very first one I think that's ever included time travel. It's like a mashing of genres, and like I feel like I've never read anything by Mark Twain. This just sounds interesting, so I would love to get around to this one at some point. I think it's going to be awesome. Like, look at this. So pretty. So I want to read that one as well. The next question is your favorite modern book or series based on a classic. And so I'm going to be doing like a retelling. I don't think anyone should be surprised, but that is Eligible by Curtis Sittenfeld, which is a modernized retelling of Pride and Prejudice, and it is my favorite thing. I loved this retelling so much. I loved seeing these people in this world. I hyped this one up like crazy. It's like just a fun contemporary romance. What? Contemporary romance, but like it follows the characters I love. Like, this is my favorite Darcy ever. The next question is your favorite movie or TV adaptation based on a classic. And for me, that is the 1995 Persuasion. I love this one so much. I don't know what it is about it. It definitely has that like 90s feel as far as like the quality of the video, but I don't know, like it's my favorite. I feel like it aligns really, really closely with the book, and I feel like I don't know what it is, but this one just like latched on to me, and like I can't think of any other Persuasion adaptations that like feel the same. Like, this one's just like the best. It's just the best in my opinion. The next question is the worst classic to movie adaptation. So this one is kind of not one, but many, and that is the like old BBC classic adaptations. So like, for example, the 1980 Pride and Prejudice, because it is a like multiple episode series for every single novel, because they did adapt all of Jane Austen's novels, but they did it to a T. So every single thing that happens in the books happens in the movies. And like, while that's great, it's very boring. And so like, they're just so long, and you have to be a real fan to actually enjoy these adaptations, because there are just like some things that happen in the books that are like throwaway things that you really didn't need to know, and they're just kind of setting you up for the world or the characters or whatever. And like, there are better ways to do it than just literally doing it verbatim to the book. Literally every single book nerd out there is getting mad at me for saying this, but I didn't love it. It was just a lot. It was just a lot. And for books like Emma, where it's literally like the day-to-day life of a woman, you don't need every single thing that's in there, because it's going to get really boring really quickly. So it's not one, but like that like series of adaptions is just like not my favorite. I just don't like that one. I just don't. The next question is your favorite edition or editions that you would like to collect more classics of. And honestly, I don't have any in this edition, but I would love them. And they are the Penguin Classics cloth-bound editions, and they're just beautiful. I love them. I am obsessed with them now. I want all of them. Those are just so pretty, and the covers are so pretty, and they just look really nice together. And so if I had $1 million, I would be buying up those editions, because they're just so pretty. And the very last question is an underhyped classic you'd recommend to everyone. And so this one is one that I would recommend for people who liked things like Jane Austen, maybe Wuthering Heights, Jane Eyre, things like that that are like follow women and their everyday life and like maybe falling in love and things like that. So for me, that is A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. This is like super tiny, so I'll try to get closer so you guys can see this one. This is one that my parents rented the movie and said that I would love it because I loved things like Jane Austen. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And so I watched the movie and I loved it. It was amazing. And so then I just happened to find this book. I believe I got it from a family member who was trying to get rid of it. It's just really good because it is about this woman who is kind of trying to figure out who she is and who she loves, because she goes on this grand adventure with her cousin, and on that adventure she's like, she meets a couple other people and then like has a moment with this guy and then like goes back home and like never thinks about him again, but then this guy moves to her village, and she has to kind of decide like what she wants as far as like her heart. But I love this book, and I feel like I don't hear anybody talk about this one, and the adaptation's amazing. The main girl in it is Helena Bonham Carter when she was super young, and then her cousin that follows her and goes with her on this adventure is Maggie Smith. So Daniel Day-Lewis in this one, Maggie Smith's in this, Helena Bonham Carter's in this, Judi Dench is in this. Like, it's got some really good people in this movie, but this is a good book. I love it, and I feel like no one talks about this. I feel like things like Jane Austen and things like that, read this one. Also, if you would like trying to get into things like Jane Austen and that kind of literature that has like a romantic twist to it, I think this one is good because from what I can remember, the writing's not difficult and it's not very long, so you don't have to like dedicate a lot of your time to it. So I like this one. I think this is a good like gateway to classics if you want to read things like that. But I loved it. It was so good, and I want everyone to read it. So as far as people to tag, and this tag I've only got 2. I will make sure that I leave all the questions down below as well if you would like to do this tag as well. I was having trouble finding people to actually tag because classics I feel like are very specific type of book, so not everybody's into that, but you never know. So if you are interested in classics, please feel free to answer some of the questions in the comments down below, or if you would like to just do this tag yourself, I would love to see that as well. But so I'm going to be tagging Kier from Kier the Scribner, as well as Lucy from Lucy the Reader. So if y'all want to do it, here you go. And if you guys want any like classic recommendations or like learn more about classics, I would definitely also check out Lucy's channel, because like that's who she is, and I always learn so much when she's like reviewing books and talking about books. So go check her out if you want more like classic-y things. But I think that's all I've got for you guys today. I've talked quite a lot, and I hope it was enjoyable for y'all. Let me know down below what your favorite classic is of all time, whether it's a modern classic or like an older classic. Yeah, let's chat. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed. If you did like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you'd like to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got my social media down there as well if you would like to follow along on any of those. I'm really active on Goodreads and Instagram, specifically if you would like to go to one that's more used. But yeah, that's all I've got for you guys today, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!